In this video, I want to talk about the creative process of art, and this will serve as a metaphor for a much more general teaching concerning the development of reality itself. Let us first consider the basic dilemma that faces the artist as they pursue their passion, that delicate balance between creative expression and the need for some form of commercial success. The primary desire of the artist is to express their unique internal vision, but as recognition and monetary value become attached to their art, there is a risk that external incentives might begin to influence the creative process. When an artist notices that certain types of work garner more financial or social reward, that is, more sales, higher prices, more likes on social media, and of course, whatever it is that pleases the YouTube algorithm, there's a natural temptation to replicate what found success one time within one's future endeavours. This inclination need not be born from a conscious decision to abandon creativity for profit or fame. It may easily be a subtler shift. The artist may be unconsciously convinced that which finds more success is genuinely better art or more creative. I think this might be the ultimate meaning of the phrase selling out. Sure, we usually interpret this to express a betrayal of artistic integrity, and this can certainly be the case, but I think there is another form of selling out, a perhaps unavoidable one, which occurs slowly and imperceptibly as artists adjust their output to align more closely with that which brings reward. This is the issue with a culture that places monetary value on art. I'm not saying we shouldn't do it, because it's necessary. I'm just stating how it is. Placing value on art not only detriments the integrity of the artist, but also betrays the essence of art itself, creativity. In its highest form, art is supposed to transcend commercial demand, to speak on a more universal or profound level. When it comes under the influence of markets and trends, it risks losing its depth and insight, and this in turn reduces its capacity to evoke emotion or inspire change. And at a basic level, this is not due to the fact that money is involved. It is due to our idea of worth, because worth is entirely subjective, yet it presents itself as if it were not. And this is an important point to consider, because it represents that which is dialectically opposite to the spirit of art. It represents limitation, the notion that there are better and worse ways to be creative, and by extension, the entire realm of dualistic thinking that dominates modern man. If creativity is the human function of possibility, then memory is the function of limitation. For memory and history is that in which we recognize the distinctions between opposites. That is to say, if creativity is the function of the ultimate cause of all experience, then memory is the function of the ego, of our sculpted ideas about what is right or wrong, true or false, beautiful or ugly. Memory is the opposite of creativity, and ego is the source of our desire for validation. Ego is that which cares about what other people think, which revels in successes and accolades, and which leads the artist to go beyond the purity of their basic capacity for artistic expression. Creativity is drawn from the deepest, most authentic part of oneself, while the ego is an artificially constructed identity which limits that creative spirit. This dichotomy is essentially what the ancients were trying to express through the language of mythology and religion, a cosmic battle between the forces of creation and destruction, godliness and devilry. Like God, creativity represents the infinite potential for bringing forth new ideas into being, and like the devil, the ego and its memory seeks to constrict, control, and exert power over that creative impulse. But let us be realistic. Every piece of art ever created by humankind has been partially sculpted by the ego, and not just visual art, but every discipline in which creativity plays a central role. We can never escape the influence of memory, for memory is also integral to the process of creation and to the evolution of art itself, so as nature. We are influenced by not just the contemporary response to our work, but also the entire historical and cultural context of our field. Even in the act of creating art that is never intended to be shared with others, the artist is never purely creative. They are limited. To create entirely devoid of the ego's shadow would require a level of self-awareness that is seldom possible in our mortal form. Pure creativity is an ideal, not a practicality. It is a powerful guiding light, but it becomes something else entirely once it is part of the world. The evolution of the ego is simultaneously that which breaks us away from the natural state of creative freedom, and also that which facilitates the very possibility and development of society and culture and art in the first place. Let us take this idea further. Let us consider science and philosophy, which are innately bound to the ego and to memory. Science seeks to explain, to classify, to predict, to establish finite frameworks and definitive models to understand phenomena. If we let rationality go to its extreme, it shall extend its grasp into domains traditionally reserved for subjectivity, like ethics and aesthetics. We would develop ways to designate what exactly makes a thing beautiful or not, because this kind of thinking makes sense to the ego, which sees everything in terms of what is and what is not. Indeed, this is how culture develops, and it's rational. It is rational that the world today is better than the ancient past. And we all hope this trend will continue, that the future will be better than the present. It is undeniable that humans get better at doing things over time. However, from the perspective of pure creativity, all dualistic categories dissolve. Awareness and creativity are only concerned with the act of creation itself, while the ego and memory are preoccupied with its product, with the thing that has been created. We can thus understand why religious depictions of spiritual battles between creative and destructive forces are apt. The relation between our human art and science is reflective of the two fundamental forces at play in human experience: the power to create and the need to explain. In art, as in religion, the creation precedes the explanation, while in science, the explanation precedes the creation. Yet both are needed for the development of human experience. Reason needs creativity, for else it would have nothing to examine, and creativity needs reason, for else it would be ludicrous, nonsensical, unintelligible. It could never justify our collective experience of a consistent world. Reason brings creativity down to reality. It provides a form for creativity to touch our hearts, as we are able to relate it to our finite human experience. You will find, if you inquire further into this channel, that reality adheres to this very principle of interdependence. There really is a fundamental creative force which creates our world, and this force is unrestricted in what it can create. But not everything that can be created can be a part of our experience, for the very possibility of human experience requires the limitation and rationality that we discover through our science. It is only via the interaction between the infinite and the finite, the artistic and the scientific, that a beautiful and rational world is possible. It is thus that our world adheres to determinate physical laws. From the perspective of science, the world of experience is a consequence of these laws, but this is a one-sided perspective. It is also true that the laws we apparently discover represent the way in which the world creatively responds to our questioning when we ask, "What is the reason you appear the way that you do?" But the explanation does not come before the experience. Our world is a harmony of creativity and reason, art and science, and the two halves are always in alignment because it is the very nature of reality to develop in a way in which it can understand itself and its own creative freedom.